Christians, and my friend Davey here, you cite Matthew 24:29, which says, immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. So my question to you is, Davey, where do you see 7-year tribulation in this verse? Where do you see anything about 7 years whatsoever? In fact, let me look back at Matthew 24 and show you something that perhaps you fail to see. Because right after Christ says this in verse 29, he says in verse 34, assuredly, I say to you, this generation will by no means pass away till all these things take place. So let me ask you a question. One, how long do you think a generation lasted in those days? Let me tell you, 40 years. Jesus said that this here, that you cited here, would happen on the generation that was then alive while he was saying this. This here, what Christ is talking about, is not talking about some 7-year tribulation period that's off in the future where Christians are not even supposed to be here to go through. This time, the fulfillment of this has already passed. Jesus said then, he said this then, and he said that this event would take place upon that then generation. Go back and look at verse 34. And you know what, Davey? I'm going to put it on the screen for you. And then I want to hear your argument for that. Because if this didn't already happen, then this is the longest generation the world has ever known. Because so far it's been over 2,000 years. Jesus was 30 years old when he said this. 40 years later, guess what happens? The destruction of Jerusalem in AD 70. Exactly 40 years later. You know what that's called? A generation. Be provoked and be persuaded, Davey.